Hello and welcome. My name's Ariella Indigo and I'm your host for the Multidimensional Human Experience Global Summit. The reason this summit has been created is due to the amount of us who are emerging spiritually, often right from birth. And due to our heightened sensitivities, it's now the case that more and more of us are sadly being given reductive mental health labels and prescribed pharmaceuticals without taking into account our multidimensional natures and the spiritual awakening process itself. Through my own experience growing up and what I've seen with many others also, this linear third dimensional approach mostly serves to erode our self-esteem, dampen our natural intuitive abilities and knock our confidence, which in turn gives rise to destructive behavioral habits like addictions in some cases and volatile emotional reactions, because our realities are not being properly supported and the correct guidance not always being made available. And sadly, as we know, some highly sensitive souls are choosing to leave the physical plane or are sadly not able to get up and running so that they can evolve into their higher purpose. Again, due to their sensitivities and the lack of solutions available, which take into account our multidimensional natures. So this summit looks to address these issues and raise awareness about multidimensional humans, to give fellow empaths, light workers, sensitives, starseeds, and really anybody who's watching this summit some support so that we can confidently align with our highest potential and make a positive impact in the world during this critical stage on Earth and in humanity's evolution. So in today's interview, I'm excited and honoured to be joined by Qala Sri Amma Phoenix, who's an international teacher, author, and founder of the Divine University. And Qala's been an ambassador for the Enlightened Masters for the past 20 years, teaching in over 40 countries. Qala is blessed to live and work in the company of angels, archangels, and enlightened ones, traveling to sacred sites and planetary portals of significance in the activation and preparation of people's higher purpose or mission. Qala operates a monthly free membership called the Heart Portal, which is a high-frequency sacred space that protects souls whilst doing their energy work and transformational healing work with the highest form of energetic support. Qala, thank you so much for being here and a very warm welcome to you to the summit. It's a true blessing and an honour to be able to interview you. I've been really looking forward to today. And if I may, I'd like to start off, Qala, by inviting you to please tell me and the viewers a bit about your own story and your own soul purpose mission and how you aligned with that.
Thank you so much, Ariella, for inviting me. It's a true joy and pleasure to be here. My mission began about 20 years ago. I had a very, very powerful spiritual experience at university. At the time, I was aiming to be a naturopath, also knowing internally that I would never be a naturopath because I could never envision myself doing that. But my spirit had guided me to university, to a naturopathy course, and one of the first in Australia. I was very excited. I loved herbs, natural medicine, but I was also very deeply on the spiritual path, seeking. I don't know what I was seeking, but I was seeking truth. I was seeking love. I was seeking what everyone else is seeking on the spiritual path. That's belonging, to find myself and where I need to be to do my whatever it was. I had no clue what that was. And I'd never had a job before in my life. And I was at university. I'd lived in a community for a long time, in nature, in a teepee, and actually lived in a very indigenous way for many years, and come out of that lifestyle to all of a sudden go to university. And I was there in my second year in auditorium, and I'd always been fascinated with the brain. Always had a lot of questions about the brain and the nervous system of the body. I felt it was a fundamental connection for us and where our consciousness is. And I was in the lecture on the brain, and all of a sudden the light opened up, and I could see angels, archangels everywhere. And I could see the higher self of the beautiful teacher. And immediately my inner voice opened. And I could hear this conversation between three higher light beings talking about the brain inside me. And at the same time, I could see them around me. And I was suspended in this levitated experience, listening at the same time, this altered state. And it was very transformational. I imagined while it was happening that this is just going to turn off all of a sudden. I don't know why this is happening, but wow. And after a period of time, I wanted it to get back to normal reality. And I was really starting to, like, internally be worried a little. This wasn't a mental idea because there was so many fascinating things happening I was witnessing. But I instinctually started to pack up my books and try and get out of the auditorium after about half an hour of being suspended in this. And but I found myself walking outside, having this inner experience at the same time as looking all around me. I could see people and how they interacted, all the energies flowing between them, you know, people in love, they're angels. I could see others really depressed with a cloud over them. Everywhere I walked to my car, rapidly I was walking, and I could see all these beings walking with me. And I lived in that state for 2 years of my life.
Wow. When all of this was in the same sort of space. Goodness.
I had to leave university, obviously.
Yeah.
Because what happened is all of my what we call gifts all opened up at once. It was very unusual.
Yes, very, yeah.
And I had no idea how to work out how to be in that state, hearing everything telepathically and seeing everything spiritually simultaneously. And I really only found myself comfortable with plants for the 2 years. And my closest people to me who understood what was going on. Now, I would have normally gone and got locked up. So I completely understand sensitivities, that we all have these profound gifts inside.
Yes.
Everyone is either an empath or a clairvoyant. Everyone has a psychic ability. Yes. And they switch on at different times. And mine all switched on completely, and I went into the other world. But at the same time, I was in this world. I was a young mother at the time, and I couldn't really care for my daughter at that time.
No.
For about months, I was in this state where my partner did everything, and he just let me be in that spiritual world. I meditated. I had to leave everything. The idea was that I was going to do this career and get my life together and be a naturopath or whatever. And, you know, earn a good living for my family and my daughter, you know, get back on track, like, you know, got to get my life together. And I was looking for that purpose, thinking the perfect job might be that or this, and maybe that's my purpose. But God had another purpose for me. Mm-hmm. And so I had this big spiritual experience, and I was just very blessed that I had the right people with me that didn't call the ambulance.
Yes. And
they understood. And I also had very clear connection with those guides, those beings that came to me. I could hear and see them very clearly, and they trained me how to move through this process.
Right. That's what I was going to ask. Could you communicate with them? And
yes. Once I moved through all my fear, I realized how much fear humanity has in our body. Mm-hmm. That we inherit it genetically through the transformation process of when our parents make love and create our energy systems for us to come into. Mm-hmm. We are blueprinted with all the ancestral consciousness, the blueprints of how everybody operated previously. Yeah. When we come in as higher light beings into an energy system that is blueprinted, in an old consciousness. It's almost like we feel very trapped.
Mm.
And it's very hard to navigate and move in an energy body as you're growing and developing. Often it closes people down, their souls. The pure light of a being that comes in as a young child, a beautiful child that's glowing and happy. After a period of 3-4 years, a lot of people souls begin to close down because of the energy systems. We've lost the art of preparing for birth, preparing for death, preparing the initiation processes, so that the energy of a young child is the energy body they receive as they're born through their mother, is actually in alignment to them. Like in civilizations like ancient Egypt, then special processes would have been done, or even still in indigenous cultures, there is special processes. I'm very good friends with the Ayahuasca people in Colombia, and they have their processes of when a woman is giving birth, and from the 9 months, foods to eat and different things for her to do spiritually,
Right.
to sustain the right energy for that child to come in. So it's coming into true blueprint. And those people still know that everyone has an individual mission, a purpose. They still work with spirit to discover that with the child. So there's societies here, but the majority of our societies have lost that art. So we don't have the support in our society anymore to carry us through on a frequency level, as well as on a guidance level.
Yes. So true, so true. So much for me to process there and what you've just said. Well, first of all, what an incredible awakening story. My goodness. That is very unusual, and it's one of the most profound and quick transitions that I've heard of. That must have been quite something for you to assimilate and integrate. But like you say, and my awakening story very different from yours. But I know in my own story, and it will be the same for everybody else, that this is all divinely timed, right? So like you say, you had the right people around you at the right time to support you through it, and thank goodness they didn't ring the hospital or the doctors. And I think that is, so many of us are having these heightened experiences, all different, and the spiritual emergence can topple into that spiritual emergency sometimes, which I've also had. And I've also been very grateful that people haven't rang the doctors on me at that time. But we do have the right people around us. And if we don't, we're lucky now that there is a growing community. And, that's why doing summits like this is so important, whereby we're able to connect people with people who have been through it themselves, and can give that wisdom and guidance and support, because it's so important, right? Particularly, as you say, in our culture, we don't have the awareness of some of the tribes or other cultures that this spiritual kind of emergence is taking place a lot of the time. So yes, wow, thank you. So where are you at now? Could you tell us what your reality is like today?
Well, today I'm a world teacher, and I live not really anywhere in a country. I have a base in America, a base in Australia and Egypt, where I travel regularly to, but I'm really 9 months of the year traveling around the world to many different countries, South America, Mexico, America, Europe, Australia, Middle East. And I just move all the time, pretty much, a lot of planes, going to important places on the planet, meeting with people, teaching very deep teachings primarily.
Yeah.
Deep transformational processes. A lot of people come and do work with me. for 2 weeks at a time usually. And they go into a deep retreat process and come out of it transformed in a different way. Some people keep returning over and over and over, and they become teachers. It's a beautiful path, and I work with a lot of teachers on the planet in the collective. I'm very much into group consciousness activities, planetary service missions. I work with a group of people called the Mamos in Colombia, which are the high spiritual leaders of the indigenous people there. There's 1,000 men, over 1,000 men that are all like the enlightened priests of their community, and I've been blessed to be able to connect with them, meet them, and work with them.
Wow.
I'm learning a lot from those people, and they're planetary caretakers. So we do try and do in the Divine University work that is beneficial for the Earth Mother, to create great balance, and also work on a group consciousness level in groups with people, because the quickest way to accelerate and open up is join a group. And a lot of people have fear about that because, emotionally or mentally they feel they're judged or, not safe. But once you actually step beyond that and you find your place, your spiritual circle, there is a huge evolution that can occur on a much faster level, deeper level, if you're with sisters and brothers doing it together.
I totally agree with that. Totally agree. It's so important to the awakening process to find your tribe and to use that collective energy to fast track all of your evolution. I completely agree with what you're saying. Yes. It can be very isolating otherwise, right?
It can be. And that really takes everybody's energy inside more deeply. And still, in the beginning of your spiritual path, there's quite a lot of fear to meet and accomplish. And if you don't know how to receive divine energy from the universe, it actually is very difficult. You go into that dark night of the soul, you feel depressed, you feel your energy closing down, even though you're trying to open yourself up. As much as you open yourself up, you close. And then you judge yourself. And I find most people on the spiritual path move through that process of feeling a bit lost at some point, even though they started with the highest intentions. They really want to just be in their heart. They really just want to be free. They want to do the highest thing here. And yet the energy that they're carrying, that they've inherited or brought in for the last 3 lives, is getting in the way. And most people don't really know how to deal with that energy, how to transform it. There's so many dispensations that are available to humanity that we're not aware of. Infinite dispensations we can receive if we actually work with the higher light beings. And this is concentrated energies that you can have brought into your field structure, your chakra system, to purify and activate and open those old energies that we're carrying from our ancestors primarily. I find about 70% of the energy people have that gets in the way of what they want to be feeling, thinking, and what they truly are really as a soul, where they're at on a soul level. That makes their mind or their emotions more disruptive and their spirit not aligned. It's not really aligned, so they get angry, frustrated with their creations here, feeling blocked. I find 70% of it is all inherited from the ancestral line. As soon as people start opening up, working with the 7 generations of their ancestors, mother and father line, a lot, and they learn how to do that work of always calling in the ancestors to be with them, to do the work with them, those that have moved to the other side through each line, and their own parents. When they start working with the souls long distance in that way and working in chambers of light, receiving support through a higher form of technology that is made of pure light and love vibration. This can all take place by when you start working with the enlightened ones, angels, archangels. There's a whole system of support that is very profound in the Divine University. This is how we work with people. Right. And you can sleep in these chambers, have visitation, so much divine energy you can learn. And then The next real step is to learn how to open your central pillar. This is a connection in the ancient times every human being had on the earth. Pre-Atlantis, we say. And also in the ancient Egyptian times, all the temple structures were built to create people to do sacred processes built on connecting through the sun and the very heart of the earth. These are giant generators of divine energy. The sun, beyond the sun, is a great essential sun known as Alcyon in the Pleiades. And beyond that, there's another 18, 20 suns. And they're all carrying higher octaves of light frequency. When you learn to bring that light in, to illuminate your brain, illuminate your chakra system, immense shifts happen in your consciousness. The true consciousness of your being actually opens and you're able to express. Otherwise, you're expressing the filtered consciousness of your ancestors a lot of the time. Like I said, for me, 70% of the energy that comes out of people when they're talking isn't always what they're really thinking. It's really what they truly believe in on a deep heart level. And it's a lot reactive to situations. And it's almost like their ancestors are talking through them. Because of the blueprints held in the chakra system until they purify. When there's enough light illuminated into each chakra, there's a holy flame inside of us. It's known as the eternal flame. And this is our divine spark that God gave us, every one of us. It's our divinity. When you begin to learn to work with that divine energy and move it into and open it in every chakra, you have experiences of transcendence where your consciousness is in the highest state and your mind oscillates into a place where the two hemispheres of your mind and brain operate in unity. No longer are you thinking in terms of separation. No longer you are feeling the negative energies. You're sitting in a higher vibration in your higher, what we call the light body structure at that time. I know a lot of people have heard of all these terms. I'm just trying to piece it all together for everybody. 20% of the energy that blocks people comes from their previous 3 lives where they have actually got into patterns, something they left unresolved, something they didn't quite learn, and it's still in the personality body. It's the trigger point where people go into their ego and feel shut down and alone, separate, unsupported. And when people can release that, recognize it, take responsibility for it, and stop projecting it on others, there is a huge shift in the being where forgiveness is needed, because everything in your life that comes to you that seems to be not working is all related to these energies that you carry inside. We attract them through the energy we carry. So when in the beginning you can take responsibility for what we call karma, and that is the karma of your last 3 lives, the lessons you weren't able to learn. What the part of your consciousness that was unable to ascend into the heavens, that was left in a singular consciousness here, feeling separate. That when you have an incarnation coming back to the earth, then you reconnect to these parts of yourself that were unable to do that ascension process. And so even though many of us come from the stars or different realities where we're in the higher light state, we have so many gifts there. We come in with these, but they don't really activate and operate fully in our benefit. They can benefit others, but in our own benefit until our own karma is balanced here. This is the energy from the last 3 lives. It gives the freedom for a soul to fully light up, emanate their light from their core, so that their aura is radiating their own essence. Until that is genetic energies and the karma of the previous lives is filtering everything. So, the way to really deal with the sensitivities of being a multidimensional human is recognize you've had incarnations before. Everything that comes to you, that you feel is at you, not for you, is a mirror of energies that you've sent out in your other 3 lives that you were unable to forgive yourself for and in some way did not take responsibility for. This is a very important key for people to recognize they have 90% gifts available to them. It'll fully open up a big bag of gifts, discover themselves truly, the light they are, the amazing, precious being they are, and they'll start to feel it if they do that, if they take responsibility for the energy that is coming at them, rather than just thinking it's everybody else doing it to them. It's a big step, though.
That, yes, absolutely, but a necessary one in terms of our own evolution, right? Which is what we've all come here to do, is to evolve spiritually. I think what you've just said is really interesting, and it makes a lot of sense in terms of, you know, just intuitively, but also the other teachings which certainly I've come across. And I know that many people who are watching this, they will be sensitives, you know, whatever label we want to call that. We're all sensitives, and all of us will have had that experience that you describe of being triggered emotionally and feeling as if energy is coming at us, which of course is the karma reflected in our environment, like you've said. And there are, you know, all of us are wanting to transcend that. So I feel as if we're really at the sort of meat of the transformational work that we've come here to do. And I love the solutions that you're talking about. Could we go a little bit deeper into that, Qala? Presumably, okay, apologies everybody, we just got cut quickly there. So Qala, I was just about to invite you to please take us further into these processes that you teach within the Divine University around how people can actually embody this and transmute these sensitivities into their gifts. And also just to ask you a little bit about where these processes have come from, because I suspect I might know the answer to that, and I'm going to find it really fascinating to hear.
Okay, so the beautiful processes or the energy work that we do in the Divine University is based on frequency. This is concentrations of energy, pure light, packaged in what we call dispensations. Dispensations are held in the higher spiritual planes of light. And there are portals on the planet that directly link into these higher energy zones, we call it. Sirius is one of those higher energy zones. If you imagine the Earth, the Sun being so much larger, and then we imagine those pinpointed stars in the heavens, and they can be millions of times larger than our Sun. You can imagine the conduit of energy that connects from the high velocity of light from a giant star system coming into the universe through the heavenly body and touching us here on the earth. Well, these are gravitational points into sacred portals on the planet. A lot of these sacred sites people go to, well, we have the same sacred sites in our body that correlate with the heavenly body. And these are doorways into our Mother Earth's body as well. If you can imagine our physical body for the time that we are here temporarily in this incarnation is a part of the Mother Earth, even though we're able to walk around in it. So the processes are based on the correlation of our physical body, our chakra system with the universe. And so the frequencies, just as we have a specific frequency that can activate the very place of our kundalini in our base chakra, and another frequency that can activate the crown chakra so that we're singing in the universe in oneness in our minds and consciousness, and we're actually receiving that. We can imagine these different centers all do something for us individually, that as they open up with higher frequency, coming from those portal systems, coming from Sirius, coming from Arcturus, coming from the Sun, coming from the inner heart of the Mother Earth, coming from the field of life, if you want to imagine that. we can imagine there's a field of life that we live in, the quantum field. And the quantum field, you connect to it through the very flame in the very center of your chest. Your soul carries this flame of love, light, and power. 3 different frequencies. Yeah. And you, when you know, you feel it when you're in love. You feel so high. Everyone can feel that high sometimes, and then they feel the low. The low when it's closed, when that energy is not circulating. And when it doesn't circulate through the spine into the brain, there is a very dull thought going on. The thoughts are very low, very negative. When it circulates through you, high thoughts, inspirational thoughts, your spirit can come in your body. Where does your spirit come from? From the universe. Because not all of us is here. That is the key. Our soul came in, our spirit, through our incarnational process, descends as we open up to the heavens. As we ground our spirit here, we have more consciousness. We do our life purpose here. And so these processes are based on receiving energy first. Where do I get this understanding from? I got it from Sirius. Traveled there many times, and I meet with the Masters of Light on Sirius, and I have embodied the Masters of Light here for 20 years and let them speak through me, giving the detailed wisdom teachings on every subject matter you can imagine on human evolution. And each time they've done that, they've brought dispensations in and shared them with humanity, transmitted them to them into their direct chakra pillar. People I've witnessed have just opened up and flowered. And it is like that. We have everything inside of us. We just need a little help. If you're sensitive and listening to me, the best help you can get is from the angels firstly, calling them in, because that will link you with your higher self. That is your spirit in alignment with your true purpose. When your spirit's out of alignment, you have no energy. When you have no energy, your energy body collapses. It's like a bubble that just goes in. You have no protection. You feel everything. And everybody's stuff, everybody's thoughts, it's all in here with you. And you're carrying everything for everybody. But they don't really need you to carry them, beloved. They need you to shine your light. And so you have to get your protection back, your bubble. So you need energy to do that. You've given your power away at some point to something, probably difficulty, probably even understanding what it's like to be on the earth now and feeling flat about it. I can remember coming here and realizing there was nuclear weapons and thinking how ridiculous. Where are we at as a human race to be bombing people? And I heard about Nagasaki and it was like almost destroyed inside, realizing. And we are very shocked by what is happening on this planet. But the history of what has happened here before is even more horrendous. So it's like we can either get into the horrendous stuff and be unprotected, take it all on, and think that is the reality of the earth. Or actually go, we came here for a purpose. Yes, there is horrendous stuff that has happened, but we don't have to put our power into that, even to believing in it and giving it any energy. What we can do instead is clear all the fear of that by getting protected in our energy body firstly, and then changing the energy inside. This is where you get a bit of control of your life back, of your energy. You need to receive divine energy to do this. So there's so many rays of light, so many dispensations. There is so many teachers. There is so many emissaries on this planet. There is someone to help you if you do not know how to do it yet. And the perfect person to help you is someone who is already looking at you, knowing you have it inside of you. They know already that you carry so much and you just need a little help to open up. Because once you open up and you've got a protected field, you can feel balanced again. You can start connecting into yourself. You can start working with your guides. You've got a whole team. They come to you. Yeah, they're waiting for you just to protect yourself, open up, and no longer project on other people, really. Take responsibility, align your spirit, open your pillar up, develop your energy. You develop it, you'll raise your vibration, you keep raising it. Sometimes you'll fall down, it's okay. You learn a lesson there. You learn a lesson how that happened. The fear you gave power to. Purify it. Move to the next level. There'll be another angel to help you. There'll be people there all the way. Keep receiving the help. Give thanks on the way. Forgive those little stumbles you make, or even the big ones where you really start to hate. And even forgive yourself for that. Open your heart. Learn how that you've got energy vortexes in your field. Learn about it. Learn about energy science. Learn about yourself as a multidimensional human being. And then you'll be in a mastery. You'll be able to keep yourself open. All your guides will show you. We have lessons all the way in life. They don't stop. But they get easier when you have the open heart. When you have the open heart, nothing is a struggle. Doesn't matter what. When your heart's open, nothing matters, honestly. And the greatest gift you have is your heart. You have an incredible heart, every one of you. And if someone never told you that as a child, forgive them. Don't blame them, forgive them. That is the greatest thing you can do as a multidimensional being who is sensitive, feeling affected by everything. Get into forgiveness and don't have a reason for it. Do it for yourself because it's going to free you. You're going to get your energy back, all your energy that you might have lost. Thank you.
Beautiful and very empowering and powerful teachings. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I just want us to talk a little bit more about the situation on Earth, if I may, because you touched on that, and I love it that you have focused everybody's attention on taking responsibility for their own journey, and becoming conscious of what it is that we've come here to learn. But Qala, in your view, what is happening, and with the information that you receive, what is happening at the moment in where we are at the moment, in the shift, and with the amount of souls that are awakening on the planet? What is your view and your information on that, if I may ask you?
Okay. My understanding is that we're in the beginning of a new age. And so we have to see that it's the beginning of the change. And there's a lot of beings that have come here, souls, to create that beginning, that superseding change, to have a shift in consciousness. But we are still very young as a race. We call it humanity. We're still very young in our evolution. We still see ourselves as individual. In other realities, the beings don't identify themselves in individuality as much as we do. There is a great creativity in that. There is a great power in that. But the polarity of that is a great selfishness and greed. And this is where we're at as humans on a collective level, is that we're learning to actually recognize that through the power of our individuality, which is wonderful, so creative, because we're free to use our will in any way to actually create. But what we create at times has repercussions. And you look around the world at everybody you know, and you're going to see a myriad array of beings, of consciousness. High consciousness, consciousness that is trapped in what we call that selfishness and greed. Consciousness that's freed, more freed from that. And there's a scale. And you might even see yourself at times that you sometimes go right to the bottom of the scale, where you feel really trapped in it, where all you want is the thing for you, and you don't care about anybody else, and you're really upset that you didn't get it, yeah? And then you go sometimes to the top of the scale, where you're absolutely sitting in that higher state of wanting peace for the planet, and you give up everything. And it's like, to be honest, we carry it all inside of us. We have aspects of ourselves that, you know, even myself as a spiritual teacher who doesn't really have a bad day, has aspects of myself that could go to that lower point, and I can have a resonance with someone that might live that way more in their consciousness every day, where it's all about them. And we need to understand that we are one as a race. That if we don't take everybody with us and love everyone, even the ones that seem to be in that bottom scale, that seem to be the troublemakers, the ones selfish, greedy, you know, blah, blah, blah. If we actually keep judging that energy and making it wrong, absolutely bad, and the problem of everything in the world, then we're not going to actually enlighten ourselves. We are on the process of advancing ourselves as a race. And there's enough people on the planet that want planetary peace, no war, that it is going to happen one day. But we have to overcome that judgment. And to be honest, it's still in every one of us, unless someone is sitting here in an enlightened state, because we're a collective. It's still in me, and I have to take responsibility for that, even if it doesn't come in my mind completely. And how do I do that? I recognize that it is a greater task for me at the moment to slow myself down, let myself have a life that is one with who I truly am here, even if that means I don't get what I want. What, you know, the desires are, the wants, and, you know, maybe I didn't get the best boyfriend. Oh, well, yeah. Maybe I didn't get the, you know, the whatever, the great house over there, or whatever it is. Maybe it was my dream that I wanted to write this book this year, and I didn't get to do that because I did these other things. And I find that we're in that state. We're on the edge. The whole world is on the edge. Are we going to continue to go into the desire body? Or are we, 51% of us, choosing the Earth Mother is more important? And really, it's at that stage where it's the Earth Mother now. It's not just us. It's, will we get kicked off the Earth Mother's back and have to come and wait for a whole new civilization? And we're not talking about our lifetime, but we're talking about our children's, future children, generations' lifetime. Will there be a reality for humanity in the years way ahead? Or will we create it so that this planet actually has to move us again? Because we've had civilizations here before and they've disappeared.
Yeah.
And we're at the brink where we can either make the change, Mother Earth first, which means we have to let that greed, selfishness, energy, desire body shrink. And there's a lot of people thinking about that. They're looking for greater meaning in their life, and they're wakening up on the spiritual path, and they're looking for that greater meaning, and that greater meaning is going to lead them to cutting it all down. And they're taking that scale down. They're taking control of what we call the ego body, that where their pain, their feeling of loss, of what they witness on the planet that's hitting them all the time when they look at what could be, and now it's like this. And they get pain. We all feel the pain of that. Every one of us feels pain as human beings about what's happening on the earth, to the forest, to the rivers, to everything, to our brother and sister when someone else says something to them. And it's about whether we're going to forgive every little act that happens and not judge, or whether we're going to act and enlighten ourselves, make Mother Earth first, and know that we will then be supported as a race, which is it's a step from our individual want to what do we really need globally. That's where we're at, I believe. And nobody knows what's going to happen. It's up to us.
It's up
We're
to
created. It's up to us. And, you know, we're looking at our governments, we're looking at everything going, well, are they going to make the decisions? And they're a reflection of our greater body, of us. So the more of that get into this state of recognizing it's not about us and them anymore. Go inside, clean it up, open up, do your part here, and that will help stabilize a whole community, I promise you. You could be the stability of a whole community on the planet. Just one person. One person can make a difference. You're making a great difference with this summit. And the more that we get into the belief that we can make a difference, that we came here for a purpose, and that it's not all a waste of time, why bother? A lot of people say. We get over that hump and we go for it, girl. Go for it. Use your power, your mind, and call on God to help you with everything, or Great Spirit, or whatever you want to call it, your higher self, whatever your language is. Put it out there, ask for it, and it will come to you. Maybe this video was the answer. And I'm inviting everyone to get on the Divine University website, which is thesiriouslibrary.com, and receive free membership. Free energy. Learn how to receive divine energy. And we'll be putting a lot more stuff up there soon. And we'd love you all to come in to the soul family, spiritual family, reality. People all over the world. There's people from 40 countries. And I'm sure there's a lot of very sensitive people in there. Every one of us is multidimensional. We have many different dimensions. And I can tell you, some days I wake up and one dimension of myself is definitely planning to go and do this. And another dimension of myself is not feeling ready. And then I just take a few breaths, take some sacred sounds, and I'm ready. Everything's aligned. Really, the power in us, in ourselves is incredible. You just need a few techniques. You need to remember everything's within you, and clear the fear is the most important thing. Protect yourself so the energy doesn't hit you. Non-judgmental. It's so important.
Yeah, incredible. Thank you. This is a phenomenal interview. So much is coming through, and the energy is very powerful. I can feel that, and yeah, I love everything that you're sharing. Qala, could I just ask you to help us further, and the people that are watching this further, by giving them your understanding on how people can align with their missions? We all know that, you know, most of us know, most people watching this, if not everybody watching this, will know they are here for a reason, and that they have got a specific purpose, specific mission. The question is then, how do I connect with this? So many people are asking this. How can we help these people to understand that more?
There's three steps that you go through to find your mission. First one is you have to get clear. Like I've been talking about that with everybody in this interview. Most important thing is to get clear and become responsible. The second step is that you have to open up to your higher guidance. This is your higher consciousness, your super consciousness coming through you. You have chakras above your head, 12 chakras. All of it is stored, all the knowledge, consciousness of your being for the highest work you can do here on the planet. You open the crown chakra, these others begin to open. The brow chakra has to unlock for this to take place. Most people genetically have this closed or partially opened because of the genetic ancestral closure in the majority of people on the planet. So it's not like there's anything wrong with you. It's like this is a collective phenomena. You've come into an energy body that just doesn't work for the high frequency being you are. So you've got to change that. You've got to actually shift the energy. Otherwise, you're going to have to hope for a miracle that someone will come and do it for you. But there's not a lot of experts on the planet that understand this. All the education's not out there yet. No. This is 20 years in the future. We hope it'll all be in schools, that everybody's meditating, that everyone knows they've got a chakra system. In some countries, it's already taking place. But until then, because you don't want to wait, you have to realize inside of you, you do have all the knowledge you need. But to get to that knowledge, you have to learn how to go to your core energy Your core energy is a crystal rod of light that runs between your spine and your brain. It's where all your soul's light and consciousness is held. If you have the ability to open that up through all those higher chakras, they turn on. All of a sudden, you are a super consciousness being, and you know this, you know that, you know everything you need to know in the moment. Getting to that place of what we call higher self-connection is the only way to deal with what we call lower self-connection, when you go into slump and all your chakras shut and you feel blah. We all know that place, yeah? And we can all have our reasons for why we got there, but the most important thing to me is to learn, don't worry about why, just get out of it. Just change your energy. It doesn't matter why. You're spending so much time to want to work out who did what and blah, blah, blah. It's like, don't waste your energy on this. See, your energy is precious, your time here. Learn how to get out of that space, open your higher self-connection. So find someone who can show you, because it's not hard once you know. You can keep doing it. Eventually you move from, every time you go in the lower self-connection, you go back to the higher self. You'll be guided in the higher self-connection. All of a sudden you're starting to follow steps on your path that you received when you're in higher self-connection. But right at that moment, you might not be able to hold it every minute, every day. Be compassionate to yourself. Don't expect yourself to hold it every minute of every day until later, yeah? Don't put a time on it. Stop timing and measuring yourself on this reality, yeah? It's getting in the way. Instead, recognize you're an initiate of light on the spiritual path. You might be on the path of love, the path of wisdom, or the path of presence. But you have previously done all this before. You need to find your way. This is very, very important. Some people, they love sound. Sound is important, the use of sound. Some people open up through learning to open what we call the light language. This is a phenomenal form of higher self-language. I'm going to do a little bit for you now.
Wow.
Ekashkamaru I aloma, eshkamaru itana, ema ora, yalamoki aloma iwa, ushmana ekalo, enama yawala, ishkama oti. Antruhakshishmanti, alanaki ashma, alano. Now this is where your consciousness is able to come through, because English it's got a limitation like every language. I'm speaking directly to your soul. This was simply an honoring of your soul, you that is listening to me. And when we are honored here on the earth, we are able to open our light here. This is something very important to understand. And it's very important to be honored by somebody, sometime, someplace. It's like a freedom, because it doesn't happen at birth anymore. It doesn't always happen at school anymore. It doesn't happen through your initiation process. But it's not anybody's fault. It's the fact that ancestors long ago had something happen that closed all their chakras down. And every generation has tried to open up to the best they can. And they have worked with the consciousness they're able to access. But you are at a time now on the planet where the light of the earth is the highest it's ever been. And the Mother Earth can help you. And you have come in, if you're a starseed, a quantum traveler, or someone like a walk-in, or an emissary of light, an angel, a soul with a specific purpose. You've come in not just to incarnate here and learn lessons, you've come here to bring a gift, to make a difference. This is what we call mission. Purpose, higher purpose. How are you going to make the difference? Well, you're going to make the difference because when you look at your journey and what you've been through, all the way through, this is a part of your mission. This is called preparation. Preparation. Everywhere you've been, all the way until you open your light fully, until you have those chakras shining, and we can say you've got your higher self-connection. And you're now looking at the world in a different way with positivity. It inspires you. Maybe not everything, but there are pockets in the world that absolutely inspire you. And you have a peaceful place you can go to in your heart. Yeah, where you can go inside, even though it's chaos out there, you can go inside and you can go to peace. Absolutely. You can come out again and not judge. When you get to that place by doing your energy work, I reckon it's going to take the maximum 2 years, maximum, if you wanted to dedicate 2 years to it. You could transform everything in your life. That's what I believe. I'm looking at you now, and I'm giving you my power to help you. And I'm saying to you, there's all the angels, the archangels, the enlightened masters with you. Call on them. Call on them. Ask for chambers of light. Come into the Divine University with us. But I'm saying to you, you can transform everything. It's just karma. It's just energy. You have the power inside of you. You are light. Use that light, open it up. And what's the 3 steps to the mission? We have to begin getting really clear. We have to then get our guidance. This is when you're starting to open up with your higher self. Then you have to follow that guidance to the T. This is where you're getting very definitive. You have to go through what we call the distrust barrier, the place of forgetfulness. Okay, yeah, I got guided to do that, but I didn't really bother to do it because I had a bit of fear.
Yeah.
You have to go beyond that. You have to keep going beyond it until every day you are going beyond the fear and following your guidance. Then
Yeah.
you're on your path here. That's exactly how you get on it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Incredible. Thank you so much. And Qala, sadly, we've only got a few minutes left, because I've absolutely adored speaking to you and doing this interview. So useful. And I'm sure everybody who's watching this will agree it's been incredibly useful. But I can't end without us talking about this amazing free gift that you are actually creating for everybody who is watching this summit, specifically for everybody watching this summit. And it falls so nicely into what we've just been talking about how people can understand their higher purpose. So it's an absolute honor to receive this, and I just invite you to please walk us through what that looks like for everybody.
Okay, that looks like 3 audios that you can listen to in your own home comfortably at any time, as many times as you wish. It's going to be involving visitations from the enlightened ones coming into your sacred space, the opening of a sacred energy portal around you so the energy changes completely, your guides coming in, your higher self connection. It involves me explaining to you some of the basics of the spiritual path and you finding a way to determine which path you're on so you can understand yourself, understand some of the gifts that come to you when you're on that path and how to take the steps forward to become really clear. Because that first step of getting clear is so important. If you miss that, you're going to be in your head trying to do this mission work, but nothing happens. It all blows up in your face. And this is so disappointing when you put so much effort into it, so much wanting to make a difference, to be the one that is doing something different. But if you don't get clear first, you can't make a real difference. You're just doing the old way again without meaning to, beloved. Listen to me and really understand that you are so loved. You are so precious. You have come for a purpose.